we've learned that it is naive. In fact, it's ignorant. And I mean ignorant in the sense they didn't know, we don't know, we know now. Adolescents need parents. They need parents during the time that the mother has breast cancer. And I don't mean somebody suffocating them or smothering with attention, but they need a check-in. And the check-in is as simple as, how you doing with all this? That's all it takes. So saying it again, how you doing with all this? And then shut up, whoever asked the question. Because what we've discovered in lots of mommies, lots of well-intended parents, grandparents, others, they start to become biology teachers. And that's not parenting. And that's the big takeaway message after studying thousands of families. Don't be a biology teacher only when a child is affected by parental mommy's cancer.
So I think you bring up a really good point there about a biology teacher. I know with my own diagnosis, I thought if I had my daughter understand the science behind it, then that would make her understand what mommy was going through. And so I actually took her to the lab and said, this is what cancer looks like under a microscope. And I took her to radiation and said, this is what they're doing to mommy, and it doesn't hurt, and they're making the cancer cells go away by the radiation beams. And I think she was 5 at the time, and I think she was way too young to understand what that looks like. And in retrospect, I think we really didn't talk a lot about the emotions in the house. Can you talk a little bit about?
You did nothing wrong, and you did not damage her. That's the good news. And the underlying message is you care enough that you brought her into that experience. Because there are a lot of mothers who don't say anything. And when they get asked why, they'll say, because I don't want to scare her. Mothers are supposed to care, not scare their children. But the evidence, as I was telling you earlier, is that the child's going to create their own image. Mm-hmm. So you neutralized the treatment image for her. The part to add, and I know good news is your child is launched and doing well, but the part to add is if you become that biology teacher, add to it a quiet time. Mommy's going through a lot, and I see you working really hard to be my best helper. How is all this for you? Pretend the child's name is Rebecca. Rebecca, how is this for all of you sweethearts seeing mommy do this? Or in the style of the language of that family. So a daddy could ask the child, mom's going through all these treatments. I know she's not able to go to soccer practice with you. How are you with all these changes, Rebecca? It's an open-ended question, and if I left with one message for a parent, for any part of this, it would be develop those open-ended questions where the child can give you story. That's what you want. You want to hear their story. There's 2 reasons. One, it positions you as a detective of your child's experience. And after you've got the full story, then you'll know how to support. Let me give you an example of using an open-ended question to a child and watch what you can discover. So here's a mommy. She's talking to Rebecca. We'll make this magic child be Rebecca. It could be Samuel. It could be Joshua. It could be David, whoever. And the mommy says, Rebecca, how are you with all of this? Mommy's got so many appointments, and we used to love to have our time together on Tuesday afternoons when I volunteered in your class, and because of this silly old medicine, I'm not myself anymore. How is that for you? And Rebecca's quiet. Now, if the mother wants to pounce in and talk, she's already in the wrong place. And she's already doing the wrong thing if she's thinking, I gotta fix this. How am I gonna teach her? How am I gonna? You quiet the fixer, you quiet the teacher. You are trying to get in the canoe of your precious child. If you still think you're gonna talk, sit on your hands. Put them behind you or sit on them and count to 15. That's gonna keep the mommy quiet. It's a long time, 15 seconds. It sounds fast. But then Rebecca says, well, you know, Mommy, I know you can't go to my soccer games. I understand. You're getting better. I understand. You're getting that medicine that makes you so sick. Because I hear you in the morning throwing up. But, Mommy, are you going to have happen to you what happened to Uncle David? What's that, Rebecca? Uncle David died from cancer, Mommy. And there are 3 kids in my class, and their grandma and grandpas all died from cancer. Wow. That's where the mother can go. By being a detective of what that child is telling her, rather than guessing. She's got meat, vegetables she can work with. And if she had said something like, oh, it's okay, Mommy's going to be fine, she would never have heard that that's what was on Rebecca's heart.
It sounds like being an active listener really is key to really opening up the communication.
Yes, and I'm trying to be so operational, because active listening for a lot of us, it's kind of an abstract term. I'm using that phrase, open-ended question. Because even if you like you're doing active listening now for me, so you're nodding and you're listening. That's also part of active listening. If the child is not forthcoming with this kind of nodding or leaning forward, which is great, if that doesn't have that child tell story, then the mother, open-ended question. What is that like for you? So much is happening. How are you with all of this? That's the check-in, open-ended question.